Hey everybody, Matt Magee here with eXp Realty in Evergreen, Colorado. Today I wanted to put a video together on kind of the second part in the series I previously posted on land acquisition. I'd like to jump a little bit more in depth today on what to do once you've found a property and kind of moving forward. So some things to consider once you've kind of located a property are what you want to do with the property. I would divide that into two parts, whether that's for residential or commercial purposes. If it's for residential purposes, whether that's for building a home for yourself, holding the land for investment, or building a spec or custom home for someone else. Some things to consider if you're going to do a single family residence is what planning and zoning allows you to do with the property, whether you have access to public utilities. By public utilities, I mean water, sewer, electric, and natural gas. If you don't, you'll need to consider water sources and what type of well you can put on the property. The type of well you can put on the property will often dictate some of the land uses. In addition, if you don't have access to sewer, you're going to need to do septic. And if you're going to do septic and well, you're going to need to determine that you have the space available because planning and zoning in certain counties allows the wellhead to be a certain distance from the septic system. And third is natural gas. If you don't have access to natural gas, you'll need to have propane on the property. If you're going to be doing a commercial project or a custom project, if it's commercial, let's say, you'll need to determine if it's allowed for multifamily, office, retail, or industrial. Depending on the type of those, you're going to need to think about your total project budget as well as your debt to equity stack. Debt to equity often is determined by what a bank will lend and how much you would have to put in. There are certainly different advance rates for the banks out here depending on project type and experience. And then last will be your project timing. With project timing, you're going to want to think about your holding costs, real estate taxes, insurance, etc., as well as financing costs, your interest rate over the course of the project until you receive your certificate of occupancy. If you're going to do investment real estate on a residential basis, whether that's a spec home or a custom build, you'll need to know whether that's what you're going to plan to do that from the builder or you're going to GC yourself, or you're going to hire that out. If you are going to hire that out, you will want to work with a reputable GC and builder in the area that the bankers typically are comfortable and familiar with, as that will also determine your advance rates. Often you can achieve better advance rates on a financing perspective if you do have locally known general contractors and builders opposed to doing it yourself. If you're going to do it yourself, there's going to be a lower advance rate. You'll have to put more equity into the deal, and the bank will certainly consider cost overruns as well as availability of workers and materials. So these are a few things that you're going to want to think about. If you are looking to rezone and subdivide, you're going to want to think about the fact that the timing to do that, the influx of residents to the area. Right now, there is certainly a supply shortage, so you can find real estate, land a little bit more easily. I should say a little bit more easily than a finished home. But you're going to want to think about the timing for planning, zoning, permits, your architectural and engineering design, so your soft costs and hard costs, as well as timing in order to receive those, and then how long it's going to take you to build before you can either sell it or stabilize it, and what the economy and demographics of the area are going to look like. In addition to that, you're going to want to think about the values of properties, which kind of ties into the demographics. Right now, we're in a supply shortage and the value of real estate is increasing pretty rapidly. So you can certainly find land, build a home, and make some money on it, but that also depends on what you're able to do from a building cost perspective. As far as the planning and zoning, permitting, etc., that process could easily take 6 months or more. You may have significant legal costs associated depending on if you're trying to change zoning, trying to replat, trying to subdivide, etc. The counties out here, which in Evergreen are Jefferson and Clear Creek, although we're surrounded by Douglas Park, Gilpin counties. They kind of all work on different schedules. They are overwhelmed right now because there's a lot of building going on. So that is something that you'll need to take into consideration. Um, as far as determining a budget, you'll want to know your total budget costs. I usually estimate that your land acquisition should be in the 25 to 30% range of your total budget, although it could be more or less depending on how savvy you are or not with respect to sourcing builders, general contractors, and materials. Um, so these are a few things to consider when you actually identify a property based on some of the factors that I mentioned in my previous video. Sorry. When you once you kind of have determined that, and then the next steps would be some of these things as far as planning, zoning, permitting, and kind of determining exactly what you want to do with the property. It is a little bit more risky and speculative of an investment if you are trying to do it for an investment purposes, but can be lucrative as well. So some things to think about. If you have any questions, concerns, would like to discuss it, please like, subscribe, comment below. Feel free to reach out to me. I can be found on Facebook, my web page, my Instagram account. My phone number is public. Feel free to reach out, like, comment, subscribe again, and look forward to hearing from you and bringing you bits of knowledge on a regular basis. Thank you.